Assalamu alaikum. The topic we are going to start is supply side policies. What are supply side policies? These are measures designed to increase aggregate supply. Basically, government introduces these policies with the aim to remove market imperfections and to make production more efficient, which can also help reduce inflationary pressure. They aim to encourage the free flow of labor and capital by reducing restrictions in the economy. The main aim of supply side policies is to improve or increase the production potential. Second is the quantity and quality of resources. Third is to raise the efficiency of product and factor market, also to improve education and training in an endeavor to improve labor quality. They do this by cutting direct taxes and by reforming trade unions and enabling privatization. Okay, so one supply side policy is to improve education and training so that their labor can become more productive. Why? Because higher labor productivity can lead to reduced cost of production and raise the quality of products produced. Also, it can make the products and labor more competitive because the cost of production will come down. The country's firms will be able to sell more, and they can be encouraged not only to produce more but also it will enable to increase exports. And when exports go up, it means that there is economic development, right? That is why we can say that supply side policies are adopted to improve or increase economic development. Why does the government aim to improve education and training of workers? Not only to improve productivity but also to improve their skill set, which will make them more occupationally mobile. This would mean that supply would adjust more quickly to changes in demand. If more work needs to be done, if more skills are required, then the labor will be readily available for that. However, there is a possibility that education and training may not be in the right areas. For example, at present, what is needed the most is technical or technological education of labor. Suppose in countries that are moving towards more technologically advanced stuff, right? So if technical or more technological knowledge, techno means technological knowledge is required and the labor is not educated in this direction, though the skill set would go up or the skill set of labor would improve, but it will not be relevant. Means it will not be the skill set or education that is required to supplement economic growth. There is a downside and there is a possibility that education and training is not done in that direction, right? Training people, and these are the examples that are stated here. One example I have already given you. Another example is, for example, if the economy is moving more towards tourism. There are countries in which that run primarily on tourism. Some European countries, they run primarily on tourism. So if they have less people trained in the field of hospitality and tourism, then the workers will not be very productive, the workforce will not be productive as such, and they will need to hire labor from overseas. So even if the government is spending in educating and training the labor force, they should try and they need to train them in the right set of skills as per requirement of the economy. Second is lowering taxes and increasing incentives. Lowering taxes, as we have already studied, that it encourages more people to work, right? Encourages more people to work, and it also encourages firms to produce more and to expand their work, because they know that they wouldn't have to pay a huge chunk of their earning as taxes. Taxes are lowered to increase incentive to work and invest, because that's a reward for the investor as well as the worker, that they get to keep the higher chunk of their income for themselves. Also, this will encourage, if it encourages people to work more, means people would search for work, and unemployment will also decrease. There is a possibility that some workers may respond to lower income taxes by working fewer hours, because they were happy with their pay and may prefer to have more leisure than more pay. This can be a factor, but it does not impact productivity as such. The government does want that more people work for more hours, but that's not always the case, because it's just an oversimplified concept, as we need to take into account the intention and willingness of workers as well, right? Now, if unemployment benefit and other benefits are increased, because you are increasing incentives, right? Increasing the incentive to work will not be effective if there are no jobs available for the unemployed and those currently inactive to do, or inactive and not looking for jobs. If unemployment benefits and other benefits are cut, then it could make unemployment worse in case that jobs are not available. If there is more incentive to work by cutting taxes, there are two things that we need to observe. Number one is cutting taxes that encourages people to work. But if we have unemployment taxes, unemployment benefits, when unemployment benefits are cut, it forces people to work because they are not getting any unemployment allowance. However, if no jobs are available for the unemployed, then the unemployment situation becomes worse. People will be forced to look for jobs, but there will be no jobs for them. So that is going to make unemployment situation worse, that people might get into crimes, and this will lead to social unrest if unemployment benefits are cut, right? If unemployment benefits are there, then there is a chance that people will say, okay, क्या ज़रूरत है काम करने की, सर्वाइवल जितना पैसा तो आ रहा है, ठीक है? तो दोनों downsides हैं. Then we talk about corporation tax. When corporation tax is cut, this is an incentive to invest, because again, this is a reward for them that they will be able to keep larger chunk of the profit for themselves, right? Because the more funds they have, the more they can reinvest in research and development, which will help them stay ahead of competition. And also spending more on research and development helps them improve their processes, which in turn lower their costs. So saving more from taxes, means saving more in taxes, is a huge incentive for organizations to work. However, even if the incentives are cut, even if the taxes are cut and they will be able to save more for themselves, but if they don't have confidence in the future of the economy, that will not work for them. मीन्स फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल अभी हम कहें कि जी टैक्सेस जो है हमने रिड्यूस कर दिया है, कॉरपोरेशन टैक्स हैज़ बीन रिड्यूस, दिस इज़ एन इंसेंटिव टू इन्वेस्ट मोर, बट पीपल कैन फोर सी दैट द इकोनॉमी इज़ ऑल्सो गोइंग इन अ डाउन टर्न. दे विल से नो, अगर टैक्स कम हो भी गया है तो इकोनॉमी का दिवालिया ही अगर होना है तो हम इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे. That will not be an incentive for them. It is seemingly an incentive, but people will not be willing to invest more, right? इसीलिए corporations will not only take the rate of corporation tax into account, but confidence in the economy is also taken into account. For example, if a country like पाकिस्तान की दुनिया में एक टेक्नोलॉजी इंट्रोड्यूस हो जाती है लेकिन पाकिस्तान में बहुत देर से इंट्रोड्यूस होती है, तो वी कांट रिलाई ऑन कि दुनिया में टेक्नोलॉजी बढ़ रही है, हमारे पास टैक्स रेट कम हो गया है, वी विल से ओके तो हमारे पास तो 10 साल के बाद ही आएगी ना. It is like that. So the fact is that we need to take into account, the corporations take into account while opting to invest or not to invest is not only the tax rate but also confidence in the economy. Next is deregulation. Deregulation is removal of rules and regulations or easing the rules and regulations. Laws को easy बनाया जाता है in favor of corporations and organizations and yes, ठीक है, उनकी favor में इसको इनके फेवर में की जाती हैं पॉलिसीज़, यानी कि मेकिंग एंट्री इनटू मार्केट ईजी. मेकिंग एंट्री इनटू मार्केट ईजी से क्या होगा, मोर कंपटीशन होगा, आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा, मतलब है कि आपको लाइसेंसिंग फ़ीस नहीं चाहिए होगी, बहुत ज़्यादा रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस को अबाइड बाय नहीं करना पड़ेगा, इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट बहुत बड़ी नहीं होगी. दैट वुड इनेबल पीपल टू एंटर द मार्केट मोर फ्रीली एंड विद ईज़. उनको कोई डर नहीं होगा कि उनकी कोई संक कॉस्ट होगी जो कि वापस नहीं आएगी, यानी कि कॉस्ट ऑफ कंप्लाइंग विद द रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस को लो कर दिया जाता है, सच एज लाइसेंसिंग फीस. If deregulation does increase competition, it may increase efficiency as well and lower the cost of production as well as the prices, right? Increases competition क्यों? Barriers to entry low हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा लोग enter हो सकते हैं मार्केट में. Increases efficiency क्यों? क्योंकि जब बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं, sellers होते हैं, तो efficiency को increase ज़बरदस्ती या एज अ मजबूरी करना पड़ता है, क्योंकि एफिशिएंसी लीड्स टू लोअर कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, और जिसका जितना लोअर कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन होगा वो उतने लो प्राइस पे सेल कर सकेगा. जितनी ज़्यादा प्राइस कम होगी उतनी ज़्यादा डिमांड बढ़ेगी, तो जिसकी प्राइस जितनी कम होगी उसको उतना प्रॉफिट होगा, बिकॉज लार्जर चंक ऑफ मार्केट विल बी विद देम. However, removing regulation does not guarantee that a monopoly will not develop. For example, if you introduce a new equipment, suppose in the market where there is less regulation, तो आप अगर only one है, you will definitely develop a monopoly. कहा यह जाता है कि डीरेगुलेशन तब की जाती है जब बैरियर्स टू एंट्री को लो किया जाता है. दैट्स मेनली टू डिस्करेज मोनोपोली, लेकिन ज़रूरी नहीं है कि मोनोपोली ऐसे में डेवलप ना हो, राइट. इम्पोजिंग रिस्ट्रिक्शंस on who can undertake particular occupations may also protect consumers. इसकी example है that people would not want the government to remove the requirement that surgeons have to possess medical qualifications. कुछ jobs ऐसी हैं जिसके अंदर बहुत strict requirements है from the government and there is a regulation कि आपको license चाहिए, आपको degree चाहिए. If that regulation is removed, तो that is going to cause more harm to the profession as well as the economy. जबकि बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसी हैं जैसे कि आप कह लें fitness trainer. If the fitness trainer does not have a degree but relevant certifications, even if they don't have relevant certifications but relevant experience and a credible one, then they should be allowed to work in certain areas. So deregulation kidhar kidhar karni hai, that's going to be a very strategic decision. Next attempt towards a supply side policy is privatization. Definitely with deregulation, privatization will increase, and that too will increase competition as well as efficiency because the resources will shift to the private sector. They will have hold of the private sector. It will put more pressure on the private sector to provide them. It will put pressure on the government to provide the private sector with greater incentives to respond to changes in the consumer demand, right? And privatization का जो main feature है वो यही है कि efficiency improve होती है, they respond more quickly to changes in demand and they increase or decrease supply accordingly. So government जब deregulation करती है तो privatization increase होती है. It puts more pressure on the government to provide them incentives. Incentive हो गए तो ये काम करेंगे. और प्राइवेट फर्म्स के ऊपर ज़्यादा प्रेशर होता है कि जी वो गुड क्वालिटी लो कॉस्ट प्रोडक्ट्स को एफिशिएंटली प्रोड्यूस करके मार्केट को दें. एंड प्राइवेट फर्म्स आर ऑलवेज मोर एफिशिएंट देन स्टेट ओन्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. ओके, डीरेगुलेशन के लिए यहाँ कुछ नोट्स हैं. वो है रिड्यूसेस बैरियर्स टू एंट्री, encourages more firms to enter the market, which is more choice for consumer and more competition that leads to efficiency, less regulatory fees, less spending of government wouldn't need to spend more because private firms will be providing most of the goods and services. It's done to break monopoly, but it does not guarantee that monopoly will break. And regulation protects consumers by imposing certain requirements on certain professions such as license for doctors. Okay, then we have, however, privatization might lead to more social costs and external costs as private sector does not take into account any external costs and social costs. Okay, then we have labor market reforms. Labor market reforms are designed to make labor market work more efficiently with an intention to increase quantity and quality of labor and flexibility of labor as well. For example, reforms can include better training, like government provide करेगी या government restriction लगाएगी कि जी ऐसी ऐसी training होना ज़रूरी है. And removal of barriers to entry such as excessive qualification. जैसे बाहर के मुल्कों में होता ये है कि अगर आप overly qualified हो for a job, they will tell you that you are overly qualified for a job and it will be unfair with you. तो हम आपको hire नहीं करेंगे. We will hire somebody who is fit for this job और उसके लिए fair हो. आपके लिए fair ये है कि आप जाएं और higher paying job को search करें, right? Also, labor market reforms के अंदर ये होता है कि government seeks to improve efficiency of labor market and it becomes easy for the employers to hire and fire laborers. This in turn may be a risk factor for the labor, but इसका कुछ हो नहीं सकता. लेबर मार्केट जो है वो इसी तरीके से काम करती हैं. What the labor needs to do is to stay up to date with the skills. वो भी most of the times government provide करती है, government programs होते हैं और they make it easier for the labor to seek more skill and grow. उससे ये हो सकता है कि एक रिस्क ये है कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अपने आप में ट्रेनिंग्स पे स्पेंड करना बंद कर देंगे. दे विल कीप रिलाइंग ऑन द गवर्नमेंट कि गवर्नमेंट जो है ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करेगी, हम ट्रेनिंग अपने लेबर को प्रोवाइड नहीं करेंगे. उससे सिर्फ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का नहीं नुकसान होगा, इकोनॉमी का भी नुकसान होगा, क्योंकि उनको जो ग्रोथ चाहिए लेबर के अंदर वो मिलेगी नहीं, जिससे एफिशिएंसी रिड्यूस हो जाएगी। गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर वो रिलाई करेंगे तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि अगर गवर्नमेंट नहीं प्रोवाइड कर रही है वो वाली ट्रेनिंग तो फिर ओवरऑल फर्म्स का और इकोनॉमी का नुकसान होगा। अनदर लेबर मार्केट रिफॉर्म इज़ ट्रेड यूनियन, ठीक है। दिस मेक्स लेबर मोर प्रोडक्टिव एंड इफ़ द पावर ऑफ ट्रेड यूनियन इज़ रिड्यूस्ड, इंडस्ट्रियल एक्शन लेना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल होगा, क्योंकि लेबर यूनियन जो है वो इंडस्ट्रियल एक्शन की तरफ लेकर जाता है, जिससे एक्सप्लॉयटेशन ऑफ लेबर बढ़ सकती है। अगर इंडस्ट्रियल एक्शन का प्रेशर ना हो तो एक्सप्लॉयटेशन ऑफ लेबर बढ़ सकती है। हाउएवर डिसरप्शन इन प्रोडक्शन थोड़ा सा कम होगा एंड ट्रेड यूनियन मेंबर्स में बी मोर विलिंग टू बी फ्लेक्सिबल एंड दे माइट encourage others and themselves to work more hours। ये लेबर मार्केट रिफॉर्म में अगर लेबर यूनियन की पावर को रिड्यूस कर दिया जाए तो दिस इज़ इन फेवर ऑफ द employers। However, in some cases, reducing trade union power reduces the benefit that trade unions may provide not only for the members but also for the employers। अगर आपने पावर ही कम कर दी है तो ना एम्प्लॉयज़ ट्रेड यूनियन की सुनेंगे ना एम्प्लॉयर्स सुनेंगे, तो डिस्ट्रप्शन एक अलग लेवल की हो सकती है, बहुत बड़े लेवल की नहीं हो सकती बट इंडिविजुअल लेवल की डिस्ट्रप्शन हो सकती है। लेबर माइट बी डिस्करेज टू वर्क, क्योंकि अगर लेबर यूनियन की पावर कम है ट्रेड यूनियन की और निगोशिएशंस नहीं हुई भी ठीक तरीके से वेजेस पे, तो लेबर माइट बी अंडर पेड एंड दे विल बी नॉट विलिंग टू वर्क, जिससे उनकी प्रोडक्टिविटी नीचे आ जाएगी। Then we have subsidies. The government may provide subsidies to the firm in particular industries for a number of reasons। Reasons क्या हो सकते हैं? ये thriving industries हो सकती हैं जिनका future bright है, तो उनको government subsidy दे। दूसरा ये हो सकता है कि government wants to improve and increase productivity in one sector, तो उनको subsidy दी जा सकती है, ठीक है। सब्सिडी का मकसद क्या होता है? लोअरिंग द कॉस्ट्स विच विल इम्प्रूव सप्लाई एंड विच विल इनकरेज फर्म्स टू प्रोड्यूस एंड सप्लाई मोर। प्रोड्यूस एंड सप्लाई मोर करना है तो उसके लिए मोर एम्प्लॉयमेंट करनी पड़ेगी, तो ओवरऑल इकोनॉमी विल मूव इन द पॉजिटिव डायरेक्शन। सप्लाई साइड पॉलिसीज आर एम्ड एट इम्प्रूविंग सप्लाई, सो सब्सिडी इज़ वन ऑफ देम। Effects of supply side policies and on government macroeconomic aims, it is to continue grow in a non-inflationary way or to reduce inflationary pressure on the government. It will allow firms to improve production, to better employ factors of production and to produce better quality, cheaper products which will make them more competitive in the international market. It will improve their exports and reduce the imports, right? In case of some supply side policies measure, there is a time lag involved। time lag का मतलब है कि वो policies फ़ौरन से असर नहीं करती हैं but their impact is seen in the long run। It can take some time before effects of improved education and privatization can be experienced, and supply side measures can be expensive as well because government has to cut down on their revenue in form of taxes कम करेंगे और थोड़ा सा अपना एक्सपेंडिचर उनको बढ़ाना पड़ता है by spending in the training and education of labor, so it can be expensive for the government but lucrative in the long run। time lag is involved, यानी कि फ़ौरन से impact नज़र नहीं आता है। aggregate supply increases with aggregate demand, यानी कि दोनों correspondingly increase हो रहे होते हैं। you can see that जब सप्लाई साइड पॉलिसीज़ को इंक्रीज़ किया जाता है तो सिर्फ सप्लाई ही नहीं इंक्रीज़ होती बल्कि डिमांड साथ साथ इंक्रीज़ होती है, तो कॉरस्पॉन्डिंगली सप्लाई भी इंक्रीज़ हो जाती है। इन्फ्लेशनरी प्रेशर जब है तो उसके अंदर डिमांड बढ़ रही है चीज़ों की और सप्लाई नहीं बढ़ रही है, उसकी वजह से इन्फ्लेशनरी प्रेशर आ रहा है ना, उसकी वजह से चीज़ें महंगी हो रही हैं। तो अगर एग्रीगेट डिमांड के कॉरस्पॉन्डेंस में एग्रीगेट सप्लाई भी बढ़ जाए तो आपके इन्फ्लेशनरी प्रेशर रिड्यूस हो जाता है और चीज़ें सस्ती होना स्टार्ट हो जाती हैं। ठीक है, what macroeconomic aims does the government want to achieve by through supply side policies to reduce inflation, to increase employment? because जब supply बढ़ाएंगे तो employment increase होगी, employment of resources बढ़ेगा, लोगों सप्लाई बढ़ाने के लिए ज़्यादा प्रोडक्शन करनी पड़ेगी, ज़्यादा लोग हायर करने पड़ेंगे, मार्केट फेलियर्स को करेक्ट किया जाएगा सप्लाई साइड पॉलिसीज़ से, इनएफिशिएंसीज करेक्ट की जाएंगी, मोर डिमांड लेस सप्लाई नहीं होगा, डिमांड और सप्लाई का इक्विलिब्रियम अचीव होगा, स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग इम्प्रूव होगा। कैसे? क्योंकि जब मोर एम्प्लॉयमेंट होगी, मोर अर्निंग होगी, स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग बेटर हो जाएगा। नेक्स्ट है increasing the effectiveness of macroeconomic policies. Besides using supply side policy measures in the long run, there are a number of other ways through which government can ensure that it achieves the macroeconomics aim. One is by using policies such as government wants to stimulate economic growth. It may want to reduce the imports by improving their domestic industry and allowing their domestic industry to thrive. subsidies दे सकते हैं, taxes जो है उनको कट किया जा सकता है, ट्रेनिंग एंड एजुकेशन प्रोवाइड की जा सकती है, इन्वेस्टमेंट ग्रांट्स प्रोवाइड किए जा सकते हैं, इंपोर्ट्स को टैक्स किया जा सकता है सो दैट इंपोर्ट्स कम हो जाएं और लोकल इंडस्ट्री थ्राइव करे। Another way is to provide accurate information. Asymmetry of information leads to market failure. Buyer को कम पता है, seller को ज़्यादा पता है, seller को कम पता है, buyer को ज़्यादा पता है. This leads to inefficiency. This leads to inefficiency, and then this is inefficiency आएगी तो लोग जो हैं वो इकोनॉमी आपकी थ्राइव नहीं करेगी। लेकिन जब आप इंफॉर्मेशन ज़्यादा प्रोवाइड करेंगे तो आपकी इकोनॉमी थ्राइविंग की तरफ जाएगी, राइट? और इकोनॉमीज़ पॉलिसीज़ को सही टाइम पे इंट्रोड्यूस करना बहुत ज़रूरी है जिससे इकोनॉमी थ्राइव करेगी। सो दैट इज़ इट फॉर दिस चैप्टर।